Well, faithful listeners, I might have left it a bit late this time, it being episode 11 of the Cambodia VR Project podcast. And I've been working kind of late on file management and just trying to stay on top, stay organized with all the stuff I've been creating and thoughts I've been having. And I looked at the clock and thought, geez, I haven't said the podcast for today. Well, I think I can go through today's project happenings pretty succinctly. Maybe not, have to be so long-winded as I have been some days. Here we go. Running 360 video cameras in a place like Cambodia where it is hot makes a difference. Maybe it's because 360 video cameras are brand new and, we have more development of the product line to see, but right now they seem to be fairly, they operate within a certain environment, and when they get too hot, they flake out. In the heat of the day, it's hard for me to run a camera for more than about 5 minutes. Run the thing for 8 minutes, it'll shut down. So that it has some self-protective mechanism built into it, the camera, but it doesn't seem to be the same, quite as reliable. You do something and it doesn't do what it's supposed to. You do it again and then it does. Anyway, I have bought 3 360 cameras in the $400 range over the past year and have them all here. One of them is pretty well fried, and the other 2 are okay, but at various levels of flickitude. So that's point number 1. Why am I bringing this up? That's kind of how I spent my morning. The cameras have gotten a lot of use in the past few days. Survey and I took them out yesterday and used them at the rehearsal. They were not operating completely reliably, so I spent some time with them, and I think, I'm not completely sure I understand what I have to do to make them both work, but I got a pretty good idea, and so I think I've got 2 working cameras now. What I believe for the future is if I was going to go out on a Khmer Magic Music bus ride again, any time, I would take at least 3 cameras. I'd record for 5 minutes, shut it down, put in camera 2, let the other one cool down, and 5 more minutes, shut it down, put in camera 3, give it a good long time, camera 1, before you send it back into action. So it takes time trying to just focus on these cameras and getting the files off of them and wondering why it's not responding the way it's supposed to. But it's all part of it, and sometimes maybe that level of work isn't so bad. That's what I did this morning. I actually did some pretty cool production though too, which was that I did manage to get off the camera some of the best of the 360 videos recorded out in the village with all the kids, and especially with Sam Nang playing the Chapé and them just going absolutely nuts. I found one, kind of less than 1 minute segment with the camera right there in the kids' faces, and all of them are just smiling and laughing and clapping and singing, and Sam Nang is just rocking along on the Chapé. It's I think it might be the best little 360 segment I've recorded, and I put that up on Facebook, and it's just a delightful thing, just delightful. So I think could have made my day right there. So file management, finding things, figuring out what's going on with the technology, but also getting some diamonds out of the work that I've been doing. The actual scheduled event of the day didn't happen till later in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. I met Sam Nang over at CLA, and I think he is a guy with star power. I think he can be the heart of the idea of the TV show. Getting him to buy into it is going to be a sine qua non. Arn will always buy into something that he perceives to be good for the show. He believes in me, so he's into it. Sam Nang's probably got a lot of other things going, and I also got the feeling that I can kind of use him as a creative consultant. He's a smart kid, and he understands inherently or intuitively or whatever the word would be, he understands how to engage people, how to pull them in, how to entertain them, and I want to talk to him about my ideas, and that's what I started talking to him about today. We walked across the street over to the coffee shop there and just talked for a while, and I told him that. I said, I don't want you to think that I'm just looking at you as an incredible performer, which I think you are, but I got kind of an idea of a new way to tell a story. I want to tell it about the Khmer Magic Music Bus, but my ideas are vague. I'm making this up as I go along, and I need someone to talk to and bounce ideas off of and get ideas from. Do you think you can be that person? I think he got that. It's hard to say. This is a guy who 8 years ago was walking from a village with nothing, knowing one family in Phnom Penh, but having to drop out of high school before he finished there in the village to be able to find work somehow and send back money and support the family. It's, the classic story. He's got down pretty pat his rendition of the incredible hard scrapple years of the work that he had to do to find a way to keep a place to sleep underneath him at night and a little bit of food in his belly, but not just to get by, to be able to find enough money and time to educate himself. His drive was to learn English, which he did, and always, I guess, from a young age, I shouldn't say he did, he found ways to come up with the money to start learning English formally. He practiced it every time he could. He worked as a security guard, studying his textbooks and talking English with everybody that came through into the gated community. Anyway, and he was number one in his class all the time. He seemed to have had deep in him from a young age some kind of love of music, but no way to actually exercise it. It was Cambodia Living Arts coming to his school that put the place where he was learning English, that put the idea into his head. And from there on, it's just all him. He, under a teacher through Cambodia Living Arts, has learned how to play the sharpe. Freeform improvisational characteristic of it just fits his personality to a T. He's just bright. The words just flow right out of him. And somehow, through work and perseverance and a little bit of luck, a very talented young man is just slowly pulling himself out of hand-to-mouth existence of a garbage picker and into someone who has a chance of having a life where he touches a lot of people through his art. I learned a lot about his backstory. I told him where I was coming from and how I wanted to work with him. He's used to, when he's talking to a stranger from the West, of telling that backstory. I'm the guy from the village. Here's what I had to get through to, be where I am right now, but I still got a lot of needs. And he does. He doesn't have a permanent room or a place to live or any of those things. And he hasn't even finished high school yet. He's just going to finish high school and still wants to get to university. I want to help him, but I don't want to help him in a sense of just giving him money. What I want to do is take him seriously as an artist, as a member of the Khmer Magic Music Bus, just as a smart, creative kid. Have him be part of the network of people on the ground here when I'm not here, thinking and working and producing and coming up with ways to extend this idea of a web-based TV series about the bus that can bring, I think, worldwide attention, sponsorship, support, all the things that the bus wants and needs. We talked for a long time, got together at 3, probably stayed at the coffee shop for about an hour doing, backstories. Then we walked over to my place where we kept talking some, and as I also then got the equipment from the room and came downstairs to the kind of lobby area there and did some 360 interviewing with him, went over that backstory again and got it documented. I've looked at it already, and it wasn't great. I didn't think carefully enough about sentence setting. The backdrop that he's up against isn't right. It isn't a good one. It was fun for me working. Here's how I'll have to look at it. That I'm starting to learn how to talk with him and help him tell his story in a way that I think will come across with the most power in the larger story that I'd like to try to tell. I'm not saying nothing will come of this material. He said some really nice things, but I suspect that it was, kind of a step along the way to getting some, really excellent stuff from him, which we'll do. I told him I want to go to where you, I know you don't have a permanent bedroom, but where you sleep at night and where you do some of your work and just places that are part of your life and have meaning to you here in Phnom Penh. I want to go there. I want to go back to your village with you. Probably not this trip, but another time, and just record you in a lot of the places that mean something to you. So that's what I'm hoping to do some of Still Before I Go Now, and then more. And maybe so they can do more, and maybe other people like Descartes here can do more too. I think that's about it. Working with the files, working with the funky equipment that gets too hot, having a great couple of hours, 3 hours in the end with Sam Nang. I think we came to a pretty good meeting of the minds, how we're going to go forward. Spent the evening back to the file mines, and I feel like I'm on top of things. I feel like the stuff being created, it's organized. I wish my ideas about the framework for the story were as organized, but they're coming together. It gradually, ideas taking shape. I did some writing about it too. So it's been that kind of day for the project. A people day, a file day, learning some hardcore reality of operating as a media producer here in hot Cambodia day. And on that note, I'm going to sign off on episode 11 and say bye for now.